Today we're going to talk about the importance or what something that people really don't pay much attention to at all, especially whenever we've been auditing people's accounts or if we have a social media management client that we start onboarding. One of the very first things that we do is we check out their bio and their name and everything that has to go in that profile section of Instagram. And I think that people overlook this a lot and either want it to be fun or they just put whatever they think is going to work really well or that people want to read. When in reality, what I think people miss out on is the fact that your profile, your page, the first glance of your picture and your name and your bio on Instagram is honestly the first impression that people are going to get when they may decide they're going to follow you or not.
So if you're starting fresh or you just have never really put thought to your bio, the first place that we recommend people to optimize is a place that's going to help with SEO. So if you don't know, if someone goes into that search bar and they're searching up something and you are using your bio as helping for search engine optimization, there's only two places that are considered searchable for your profile. We're not talking about your content, we're just talking about your profile. And what helps bring you up in that actual search is a way that you strategically place keywords in your bio. Now, I say that, but before I say that, I want to make sure we understand what section of your bio is actually searchable. So the meat of it, the under the bolded part, is not actually searchable, but it's very important. We'll go into that more. But what is searchable is going to be your handle, of course, but then also that bolded part where a lot of people will just put their name and that is it. If
Right.
you are not a well-known name, no one is going to be looking up your name. So you have to use keywords within your niche that the general target audience that you're trying to appeal will be searching for. So, for example, let's say you're within the niche of postpartum and motherhood, mental health, right? All of those could be part of your niche, and different elements are going to hit on with your content and your content pillars. So you want to make sure you always put your name in this. Again, I'm just talking about that bolded part that's right before your bio. I believe when you're putting this in and you're editing your profile, this is under, it just says name. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
your name. It's
So
not
there's
your
their
handle. So
username.
like your
Yeah.
handle is where it's the at symbol. It's the at
Yes.
symbol and then it's whatever comes after that, which does play a role a little bit in SEO as well. Like you want to make sure that your handle and your name are things that people may search for. Your name's the most important, the bolded part of your name. And what you can do that's a really easy trick is that you can not only
Can you see my
yeah,
screen?
this is ours. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our bio. This is our name and our bio. So the bold part is where it actually has our name. And then there's some sort of divider that you can use. You can use just an up and down line. You can use the little dot like we did. You can use other things like just a dash is fine. And then the rest of your name is actually the searchable part. So it's the part that most people are going to go and look in Instagram for a specific answer to a problem. And that's the part that you need to put in your name. So for us, it's Instagram growth and social media management. We immediately want people to know that that's what our focus is. For the person who is doing postpartum education or mental health, then those words need to be included in your name because just like Lexi was talking about, you can't just put your first and last name or even just your first name and expect it to attract people just effortlessly because no one's going to go on and search for Miranda. Like, no one cares about me. Like, no one cares about me as an individual. They care about what I can give them. And what I can give them is Instagram growth and social media management.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thinking that you want to have behind your bio and why your name and your bio is important.
Yeah.
In your bio, like, it's not necessarily searchable, but I have been seeing a lot of content recently of how AI is changing that a little bit and how AI is going to start picking up on keywords within your actual text of the bio. So that actually is going to become more and more important.
Yeah.
And we're going to break down for you like what you need to include in your bio and what wordage you really want to use so that it grabs that person's attention. And then they're like, oh, this speaks to me. I want to learn more about what they have to offer. And then they follow you.
Mm-hmm. Now, underneath here, we do recommend either doing 3 or 4 lines. When it comes to the 3 and 4 lines, there's going to be a structure of what that looks like and what you need to put on each line.
Yeah. So this is where there's one word, like if I had to pick one word that is going to help you convert people who are looking at your page from like a casual scroller into a dedicated follower, this one word is what you need to include in that very first line of your actual Instagram bio, and it's literally going to change how people perceive you and what they're going to decide as far as following you, and that one word is you. So you need to have the word you in what we call your help statement. So the very first line of your bio under your bolded name is called your help statement. And this is where you're describing how you as a creator, you as a business owner, you as an entrepreneur are helping the person who has come to your page. So you need to have the words, I help you, or helping you achieve a desired effect. Okay. If you want to take that even further, the statement can be I help you, or or helping you achieve a desired result without using those words, without a sacrifice. So for example, what we have for our help statement is we're helping you reach massive visibility for your brand on Instagram with simple content strategy. Another way that we could have worded that is helping you reach massive visibility for your brand on Instagram without a lot of stress. Okay. Because the stress is the sacrifice, or without spending hours scrolling. You want to take that, if we go back to the example of like postpartum health or postpartum mental health, and we are saying, I help you get your body back after pregnancy without crash dieting, or without spending hours at the gym, or without feeling overwhelmed, right? So you're not going to experience the sacrifice that you think you have to make in order to achieve the desired results. And I can't stress how much that first statement is so important and crucial. And that one word of including you in that help statement is literally going to make the difference between someone possibly hitting follow and someone saying, they're not speaking to me. I don't really understand how they help me. And that's one of the first things that we will immediately strip away from someone's bio is that first line. And then the second line, we're focusing on social proof. So social proof can be anything from your own experience of what you've been able to achieve. So let's go back to postpartum, mental health, physical well-being. Maybe it's something like losing, I lost, 30 pounds in 6 months postpartum, something like that. Or maybe you're going to actually speak to how many students or clients that you've helped. So then you would say over 100 plus clients helped during their postpartum journey, right? So you have social clout. It's whatever that social clout is. And this is also, I'll say this, and this might be controversial, but I'll say that like if you cannot provide some sort of social proof, like if you can't say without a shadow of a doubt, I achieved this in this niche that I'm trying to promote, or I've helped I've helped other people achieve this desired result, you should not be promoting that niche.
Yeah,
You should not
absolutely.
be in that niche. You should not be teaching about that niche. You should not be posting about that niche, because here's the thing, you're an imposter. You are an imposter trying to tell people how to do something. I won't even go down the rabbit hole that I want to go down, but you're an imposter that is trying to teach someone how to do something or telling someone how to do something, and you personally don't have any experience or clout or education behind what you're trying to teach. If you haven't achieved it and you've not helped other people achieve it, you have no business. You have
What
no
gives
business
you that
trying to help people do
credibility,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like people, for example, I have never cut hair before, nor do I know how to. So I am not going to say I am going to start an Instagram account to teach people how to cut hair, because I
Right.
have no business, I have no credibility, I have no education, I have no knowledge behind that. Now, we know that's probably controversial, but you have to, and a lot of people say, well, you can, what about, I'm just trying to get started. Well, you need to pick, every single person has a skill or a passion or an activity or hobby that they are good at. They maybe just don't know it and they need someone like us or someone else, whoever you want, to help dig that out of you, because every single person has something they can monetize as a beginner. But do not do a niche that you are not experienced in.
Yeah.
And a
And it's
lot of
gonna,
people will
you're like,
say,
you're
yeah,
gonna
they're like,
have like what's gonna end up happening if you do that and if you go down that rabbit hole of I see these people succeeding in this way on social media. And even though I don't really have any experience with that, I want to do that too. So I'm just going to start posting about it
yeah,
and or copying people. And if you start doing that and you create this inauthentic content for an inauthentic brand that has nothing to do with you, it does not align with your skills, passions, hobbies, whatever, you people pick that out so fast
hmm,
and can pick up on the fakeness of it all and
yeah,
the forced content creation of everything.
yeah,
And that is what is going to end up destroying your brand before it's even started, because you started out with inauthentic content, inauthentic messaging. You're not going to be able to attract anyone loyal to you because you're not authentic yourself. And I
yeah,
think that that is something that people kind of can get caught up in, and that will happen and you may not even realize that it's happening sometimes,
yeah,
because I think what comes into play there is this imposter syndrome. Like,
hmm,
I think what can end up happening, and I would be amiss if I said we've never experienced imposter syndrome. Or if you talk to big name creators, they'll even tell you at some point, or even still, I will experience imposter syndrome.
yep,
And whenever that happens, you can end up diving into something that may not even align with your niche, or it may be completely different from what you've been doing as a brand because you think it worked for them, it's going to work for me too. And
right.
then you start creating this inauthentic content
Hmm.
and you go down this really, really, really deep, dark hole. And it's
So
not a good
I
thing.
actually have a really good example of we currently have a student in our mentor program who is going to monetize like postpartum like anxiety and depression and like help people go through that. And it's like, well, she's like, well, what's my social proof? Well, your social proof is that you had that and you got through it with certain coping techniques or skills or whatever. So your clout is that you are a mom who experienced postpartum and got yourself out of it. That's it. And you know what's so crazy is like probably like half of the people we're talking to have gone through that same thing, but they would never consider that as a skill. Well, sister, that's a huge skill because like 90% of women go through that and it's not talked about. So that's just like a great way to know like this line is so important because it gives you this credibility for people to want to pay attention to you. Why you, right? Because we live in a world with marketing and social media that's every niche is competitive, every niche is saturated. So you have to have that life experience, that credibility, that you could have a degree. I don't really care what it is. It has to be something that right away people trust you. You have credibility around it. You have experience. And you can have that as a way to create more of authority for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So again, if you're just starting out, that is when you have to find that mentorship for people to help bring that out of you, to find those skills, those passions, those hobbies, whatever you name it, to be that niche that you monetize,
Yeah.
right?
Or even just finding mentorship, or finding a mentor of any, we're not even just saying us, like mentor of any
Mhm.
kind, where like if you are just starting out and you have this background of something that you're either passionate about, or it's a skill that you have that you want to turn into a business or whatever, you are seeking out someone who is already like 5, 10 steps ahead of where you are in a similar niche or with a skill that you don't possess, and
Mm-hmm.
you're asking them to help you go from point A to point B. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason for that is you have the social proof with your own experience, but maybe you don't know how to translate that into actually helping people. And
Yeah.
for us, like if you were to come to us and you say, I have this really, really impressive, skill, or I have this skill that not a lot of people have, but they really want to learn more about. I think about like stock trading, like that blows my mind, and I have no idea how to do it. So when someone comes up to me, and starts talking about it, and I'm just like, you just do this? Like, this is like for fun for you? Or how do you do this? That is something where they may say, I actually really enjoy doing it and I want to make a business out of this. I just don't know how to like translate that into something that can become profitable. And what we can help with that from a social media perspective is getting more eyes on your business with the right messaging and
Mm-hmm.
attracting the right kind of people. All you need to do is show up and put in some effort and be authentic, be yourself, build a brand, and share the knowledge that other people are going to be looking for. So that social clout, that middle part of your bio is probably one of the other really, really important parts, only behind the help statement initially, is how are you going to tell people that you are an authority figure in
Mm-hmm.
your niche? Is it because of your own personal experience of developing this skill, passion, hobby, or is it the number of people that you have helped, clients you have served, whatever it is, right? And then that final line, the third and or fourth line, needs to be a call to action. So a
Mm-hmm.
CTA. And the CTA can be anything from if you are a coach or someone that provides a service, you might want to say like work with us or book with us or whatever. Or if you are someone that sells something that's digital, like a digital download, you have a free download, you want to say like download my free whatever. And the only difference between this, honestly, and a brick and mortar is you want to include your address. So if you're a physical brick and mortar place, that's a business that has a location that you want people to know where you're located. There's two places you need to put your location. One is in your bio of actually putting in your address in your settings, and then the other place is in the bolded part of your name. So if someone is going to search for like a hairstylist in Atlanta specifically, you need to have in your bio, in your name, you need to say Jane Doe slash Atlanta hairstylist, or whatever it is that you're focusing on and where. Because when I go and I look up a photographer for family photos on the beach, I'm going to look up a photographer at that certain beach where I am. I'm not going to look up a general photographer that goes all over the world. I want someone where I'm going to be. So that's really, really important, especially if you are location based and you're trying to get clientele in at your physical location. That's the big difference whenever you're optimizing your bio.
Mm-hmm. So that's a really big one. And when it comes to if you are like a business owner, right? I always, sometimes I'll do like market research and I'll look and I'll be like, the fact that they don't have their location is like crazy to me because you have to have your location within your bio for sure if you're a brick and
So
mortar.
at the end of the day, your Instagram bio is not meant to be like overwhelming. Like you shouldn't come at it and say, this is too hard or whatever. And it's also not meant to be something that's just funsies and whatever it is that you feel like you want to put. One of the biggest mistakes we see is that people put things that are irrelevant to their business, like mom of three, and you are like selling candles. Like no one really cares. I mean, I know that's harsh, but no one really cares that you're a mom of three. Or if you are doing like a fitness nutrition type niche and you put in there, I don't know, mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're a mechanical engineer. I'm sorry. I know you worked hard for that, sorry to burst your bubble. I don't care that you're a mechanical engineer. I care how you specifically are going to help me with fitness and nutrition. So you need
Yeah.
to remove stuff like that you think is maybe beneficial for people to know, or you're really proud of it and you just want to share it. And props to you, but that's for your personal page. That's
Mm-hmm.
not for your business page.
Yeah.
So you need to remove statements like that, because at the end of the day, if we had to boil all the water out of it for your bio, it's one of those places that's so crucial that so many people are messing up. And it's like window shopping for your account. So when someone goes and looks at a reel or a post that you've posted, and then they're like, what are these people about? What's this person about? And then they click on your little picture to look at your profile, or they swipe to look at your profile, and they land on it. The first thing they're going to land on and see is your name and your bio. And if they're reading through that real quickly and glance at it, and they're not getting anything out of it, or they're confused about what you're doing and what you're offering, your bio is not set up right. And
Mhm.
they're immediately going to walk by your window of your, fictitious store of window shopping, and they're going to say, I don't really see anything in there that fits me or fits my style or fits what I need, and they keep on walking by. So you've immediately lost a potential follower and a further down the road potential paying client.
Yep.
So we can't stress enough how, if you do nothing else today and you've not optimized your bio, it's such a simple fix that can make such a huge impact on how people find you, the ease in which people find you, your ranking whenever people are searching for something in particular, where you show up on the leaderboard of Instagram when people are searching for those things, and the conversion rate of someone who's glancing at your page and then decides to hit the follow button
Mhm.
will drastically all increase if you just
Yeah.
go back and you add these things that we've been talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely the first thing that I personally look at before I ever follow somebody. So
Exactly.
again,
Yeah.
like
Think about
how
what you
Miranda,
do, like
yeah,
on a
and
daily scroll.
the thing that's the most important takeaway from what Miranda said is like think of it like window shopping. Like that is like the easiest way to remember it is like think about what you do and how when you glance at something through a window at a store, it's either going to make or break for you to go in or not, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing when it comes to inviting someone into your page to potentially follow you, then to potentially turn them into a paying client, right? So important. Obviously, always remember that the biggest takeaways is that SEO, how your profile is searchable, is huge. And the next one is doing those 3 to 4 bullet points that are breaking down exactly who you're helping and how, your social proof, your clout, your experience. If you've worked with students, if you have a degree in something that's related to what you're monetizing, anything like that, and then a really clear CTA to get people into that link. Really quickly before we wrap this up, if you do not have any offers at this point where you don't have like a clickable link, right? Maybe you're just getting started and you're starting just with content strategy to grow that before you make offers. Your CTA can be simply just to follow you
To
or
follow you.
join, yeah,
Or DM
or
me,
or
you know.
DM me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a CTA. Doesn't always have to be get my free X, Y, and Z or work with us or anything like that. It can be simply follow me or send me a DM for X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make sure you keep that a note. Eventually, you'll want to have links, and you always, it sounds silly, but if you're going to have links, you have to literally tell people what to do. When you say, get my free X, Y, and Z resource or work with me, you have to literally do an arrow below button for people to click the link because
Mm-hmm. You need to
as
have it. It needs
someone,
to be so clear.
yeah, as someone that does not do social media as like a business, people simply don't know like where they can get your resources, even though you have it in your bio. If you don't physically tell them where to go with just an emoji to click down, people might not do that. And that might sound really stupid
Mhm.
and simple, but it's such the truth. You have to literally spell it out and dumb it down for people to reduce any sort of fatigue for them to know what
Yeah.
you provide.
You need to make it effortless for them to click on your
Yes.
website link, whatever your link is. And we'll dive into in other episodes about like controversy of like how many links should you have?
Yes.
What kind of links should you have? Where should it be directed to? That's something else that we can talk about. And then you also want to stay tuned, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast, to our YouTube channel, so you can get all of the details of us helping you work through and simplifying content creation and maximizing your Instagram account. Because the other thing when people are window shopping that we didn't even dive into, but we will, is also the controversy of like your feed and if it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. Should you have real covers? There's a lot of questions around that, and we'll dive into that because that's also part of window shopping and can determine whether or not someone is going to follow you at the end of the day. So if you're not already, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast channel, follow us on Instagram @_simplified social if you're not already, and then also check us out on YouTube. We are here to help you grow on Instagram, create massive visibility for your brand without sacrificing a lot of time and feeling frustrated along the way. So thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.